You are probably spending one of the most valuable Lincoln Wheat pennies in America without even realizing it. And that should scare you. Right now, somewhere inside an old jar, a dusty drawer, a cash register, or maybe even your own pocket, there's a tiny 1-cent coin hiding a silent fortune worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Nobody talks about these coins because most people overlook them completely. But collectors, they are fighting over them in private auctions, paying shocking amounts of money for pennies that look old, dirty, and completely ordinary. So before you spend another wheat penny, stop and check your pocket now. These coins are hidden wealth hiding in plain sight, and this video could literally change the way you look at spare change forever. And trust me, each coin gets rarer, more dangerous to ignore, and far more valuable as we go. So stay till the end, because what comes next is real auction shock. Coin number 1. The 1,950 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark is one of those coins people accidentally lose every single day, and that's exactly why collectors are obsessed with it. At first glance, it doesn't look special. In fact, most examples have this dark brown, aged surface that makes people think the coin is damaged or worthless. That mistake has cost people a fortune, because hidden inside that worn brown appearance is one of the quietest forms of wealth still circulating in America. And this is not fiction. What makes the year 1950 so important is the pressure America was feeling after World War II. The country was shifting fast. Factories were overloaded, the economy was changing, and the U.S. Mint was pushing massive coin production to keep up with daily commerce. Pennies were being used everywhere: grocery stores, gas stations, train stations, lunch counters, and the minting machines were running hard. That constant pressure created coins with subtle differences, stronger collector demand, and a survival rate far lower than most people imagine today. Now here's where things become dangerous to ignore. This specific penny has no mint mark, meaning it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. But collectors don't just look for the missing mint mark. They study the exact surface texture, the chocolate brown toning, the sharpness of Lincoln's jawline, the wheat stalk detail on the reverse, and even the way the light reflects off the metal. Most people miss this. One tiny detail can change everything. The front of the coin, the obverse, features Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the word Liberty beside him and the date 1950 stamped clearly into the surface. Above Lincoln's head is the famous phrase, "In God we trust." But on high-end examples, collectors become emotionally obsessed with how sharply those letters appear. Strong lettering means less wear. Less wear means higher demand. And higher demand means serious money. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the legendary wheat reverse design that made these pennies famous. 2 wheat stalks curve along the edges, surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum resting above. This design feels old, powerful, and deeply American, and collectors love that antique look, especially when the original brown toning remains untouched. And you never want to clean this coin. That is one of the biggest mistakes people make. The moment someone tries polishing, rubbing, or washing the surface, collectors immediately lose interest. Cleaning destroys the original skin of the coin forever. That dark brown appearance, that old surface, that natural aging, that's exactly what serious buyers want. Original toning matters more than people realize because it proves the coin survived naturally through decades of circulation without being altered. Physically, this penny has a very specific feel in the hand. It weighs about 3.11 grams and was struck from 95% copper with a small mixture of tin and zinc, giving it that rich old metal appearance collectors crave. The diameter measures roughly 19 millimeters, with a thickness close to 1.5 millimeters. The girth feels small and ordinary, which is terrifying when you realize something so tiny can hold life-changing money. And surviving examples in extra-fine condition are becoming incredibly difficult to find. That condition matters because it means the coin still shows strong detail while carrying light wear from circulation. Collectors love that balance. Too damaged, and the value drops hard. Too perfect and authentic examples become harder to trust without professional grading. That's why grading is critical. A certified example from a respected grading company instantly changes how collectors view the coin. What makes this penny even more fascinating is the emotional behavior surrounding auctions. Wealthy collectors often don't publicly talk about chasing these coins. They quietly compete behind the scenes, pushing prices higher and higher because supply keeps shrinking. Many owners refuse to sell once they understand what they're holding. They lock them away for years. That creates even more scarcity and even more obsession. And today, a 1,950 wheat penny without a mint mark, in extra fine condition with strong original brown surfaces, has reached shocking auction levels around $334 zeroth for a single cent. Think about that. A coin most people would toss into a jar could secretly be a hidden fortune sitting in plain sight. So if you find one, do not spend this coin. Never clean it. Check the surface carefully. Look for natural brown toning, sharp wheat lines, and strong lettering. And most importantly, get it professionally graded before making any decision. Patience creates wealth in this market, and rushed mistakes destroy fortunes overnight. But believe it or not, the next penny is even scarier. Because the next coin has collectors panicking whenever one appears. And what makes it valuable is something so small, most people never notice until it's too late. Next up, most people would walk right past this coin without a second thought. And that's exactly why it has become such a terrifying, hidden treasure in the collector world. The 1,941 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark doesn't scream wealth. It doesn't shine like gold. It doesn't look rare. In fact, many of these coins carry this strange bronze and purple appearance that makes ordinary people think the penny is damaged, dirty, or worthless. But collectors see something completely different. They see a silent fortune hiding in plain sight. And when one of these appears in strong condition, the competition becomes aggressive fast. What makes this penny so fascinating is the timing of its birth. America in 1941 was standing at the edge of massive change. Tension was building before the United States entered World War II. Industries were accelerating production, and the U.S. Mint was under pressure to keep coins flowing through the economy. Pennies were heavily used during this period because everyday commerce depended on small change. Machines were running hard, dies were wearing down quickly, and subtle differences started appearing across Lincoln cents struck that year. This is where the obsession begins. Now pay attention, because this detail changes everything. This coin was struck without a mint mark, meaning it came from the Philadelphia Mint. And while millions were produced, surviving examples with attractive original surfaces are becoming incredibly difficult to locate today, especially coins showing that unusual bronze and purple toning collectors can't stop talking about. Most people think toning lowers value. In reality, natural color can make a coin emotionally irresistible to serious buyers when the surfaces remain untouched and authentic. The obverse, the front of the coin, features Abraham Lincoln facing toward the right with "In God We Trust" arching above his head. The word "Liberty" appears to the side, while the date 1941 sits below. But collectors don't casually glance at these details. They study them obsessively. They inspect the sharpness of Lincoln's beard, the smoothness of the cheek, and the exact condition of the lettering. One tiny weakness in those areas can dramatically affect demand. Then comes the reverse. And this is where the classic wheat penny design pulls collectors in emotionally. Two elegant wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, while E pluribus unum rests proudly across the top. That design carries a powerful vintage look that reminds collectors of wartime America, old family cash drawers, and forgotten coins passed through generations. This penny doesn't just feel old, it feels historic, and the metal composition adds even more character. The 1941 wheat penny was struck from 95% copper with small amounts of tin and zinc blended into the alloy. Over decades, that metal reacts differently depending on storage, humidity, and circulation. That's why some surviving examples develop those haunting bronze and purple shades that collectors crave. Under proper lighting, the coin almost seems alive, shifting color as it moves in the hand. Most people miss this completely and accidentally spend these coins every day. Physically, the penny feels small and harmless, but its specifications are incredibly important to serious buyers. The coin weighs approximately 3.11 grams with a diameter near 19 millimeters. Its thickness sits around 1.5 millimeters, and the girth feels modest enough to disappear into ordinary pocket change. That's what makes this so unbelievable. A tiny 1-cent coin carrying hidden wealth large enough to change someone's life. And survival in very fine condition is far rarer than people think. A very fine example still shows strong wheat lines on the reverse and noticeable detail across Lincoln's portrait, but decades of circulation leave behind gentle wear that actually adds personality. Collectors love coins that survived naturally. That honest aging creates emotional attachment. But the second someone cleans the coin, everything changes. Never clean this coin. Even soft rubbing can destroy the original surface forever. That natural bronze and purple appearance is part of the story collectors are paying for. Once altered, the value can collapse instantly. This is why professional grading is critical. Authentication protects the coin's credibility and confirms whether the surfaces remain original. What's happening in today's market is even more shocking. Collectors are holding on to premium wheat pennies longer than ever, refusing to release them back into the market because demand keeps rising. New buyers enter the hobby every year, but the number of untouched high-quality examples keeps shrinking. Quiet auction battles happen constantly behind the scenes, and some bidders become emotionally locked into owning specific toned coins because no two examples look exactly alike. And today, a 1941 wheat penny without a mint mark, featuring strong bronze and purple surfaces in very fine condition, has reached market values around $345,000. For 1 cent, a coin people still overlook in old jars, dresser drawers, and inherited collections. So before you ignore another old wheat penny, stop and inspect it carefully. Look closely at the color. Study the wheat lines. Check for original surfaces and strong detail. Do not spend this coin. Do not clean it. And never assume dark toning means damage, because sometimes the ugliest-looking coins hide the biggest fortunes. But the next penny is on another level completely, because the next coin has a feature so unusual that even experienced collectors freeze the moment they spot it. And what happened during its production created one of the most dangerous treasures still hiding in circulation today. Next up, this next coin is the kind of penny people throw away without hesitation, and that mistake could cost someone a fortune. The 1935 Lincoln Wheat Penny, without a mint mark, has become one of the strangest hidden treasures in the coin world, because the very thing most people hate about it is exactly what collectors are chasing. Those eerie green spots scattered across both sides of the coin? Most people think that means corrosion or damage. But on original surviving examples, those natural green areas can actually prove the coin lived an authentic life for nearly a century untouched. And that tiny detail has turned this forgotten 1-cent coin into serious money. Right now, somewhere in America, this penny is probably sitting unnoticed in an old coffee can, a junk drawer, or mixed into pocket change. Nobody talks about these coins publicly because the smartest collectors quietly hold on to them. They understand something most people don't. Older wheat pennies are disappearing fast, and untouched examples from the 1930s are becoming terrifyingly hard to replace. The year 1935 mattered more than people realize. America was still fighting through the emotional and economic weight of the Great Depression. Families protected every cent they had. Pennies moved constantly through stores, factories, farms, and local businesses because even the smallest amount of money mattered during that era. The U.S. Mint was producing huge numbers of coins under difficult conditions, and many cents from this period were heavily circulated almost immediately after release. That's why surviving examples today, especially with natural surfaces still intact, create intense collector obsession. And this is where the story becomes dangerous to ignore. This 1935 wheat penny was struck without a mint mark at the Philadelphia Mint. At first glance, it looks worn and ordinary. But collectors don't see ordinary. They examine every microscopic detail. They study the spacing in the date, the texture around Lincoln's portrait, and the color balance across the surfaces. Those green spots on both sides become especially important because original copper reacts over time in unique ways depending on storage conditions, humidity, and decades of exposure. Most people miss this completely. The obverse design shows Abraham Lincoln facing right with "In God We Trust" above his head, "Liberty" to the side, and the date 1935 stamped below. But in fine condition, collectors actually expect visible wear. That wear tells a story. Lincoln's hair details may appear softer, and parts of the lettering may show age, but when the coin still has strong natural color and authentic surfaces underneath, the demand becomes incredibly emotional. Now flip the coin over. The reverse carries the legendary wheat design that made these pennies famous worldwide. Two curved wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, while E pluribus unum stretches across the top. Even after decades of circulation, many collectors become obsessed with finding examples where the wheat lines are still partially visible. That balance between age and survival creates an almost addictive hunt inside the coin market. And physically, this coin feels deceptively small for something carrying this much hidden wealth. The 1935 wheat penny weighs approximately 3.11 grams and was struck from 95% copper mixed with small amounts of tin and zinc. The diameter measures around 19 millimeters, while the thickness sits near 1.5 millimeters. Its girth feels completely ordinary in the hand, which is exactly why people accidentally spend them every single day. That's the frightening part. A tiny coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars can vanish into circulation because someone assumes it's worthless. But what truly separates valuable examples from common ones is originality. Never clean this coin. Collectors can detect cleaned surfaces almost instantly. Scrubbing, polishing, or chemical cleaning destroys the natural skin of the copper forever. Those green spots that look ugly to ordinary people may actually help confirm authenticity and long-term aging when they appear naturally. Original toning matters enormously in today's market because untouched coins feel real, historic, and emotionally powerful to buyers. Professional grading is also critical. Without authentication, many collectors refuse to risk large amounts of money because counterfeit surfaces and altered colors exist throughout the hobby. A professionally graded example gives confidence, and confidence drives auction prices higher. And the auction behavior surrounding this penny has become intense. Collectors aren't casually buying these anymore. They compete aggressively because supply keeps shrinking while interest continues growing. Many owners lock these coins away for years, waiting as prices climb higher and higher. That creates scarcity. Scarcity creates panic, and panic creates massive auction numbers. Today, a 1,935 wheat penny without a mint mark, showing natural green spotting on both sides in fine condition, has reached auction values around $342. Think about how unbelievable that sounds. 1 cent, transformed into a silent fortune because it survived history. So if you ever spot a dark old wheat penny with strange green areas, don't dismiss it. Check the date carefully. Study the surfaces. Protect the original toning. Do not spend this coin and never attempt to clean it. Sometimes the coins people ignore the fastest are the ones hiding the biggest life-changing opportunities. And honestly, that's what makes Lincoln Wheat Pennies so dangerous. The fortune is usually hiding where nobody wants to look.